So I was playing around with my Zeta 2. In fact, I was trying to build a second board and I was having problems with it, and it partially worked but partially didn't. So I tried troubleshooting it, and we'll get to that later. But in the process, I found a change to the source code that makes the system boot faster. So I thought everybody would enjoy that. So let me show you what I did. This is the ROM wbw root directory, and in the source, I think we've seen this before. Let me change here. In the source, there was the build 2 that I created. If we go into, let's see, where is it? I believe it's in HBIOS. Yes, so the Zeta 2 uses the HBIOS, and there's a subfolder called config. So if we go into config, remember one of the very last steps in creating your ROM is you need to choose which platform, and you type in Zeta 2. When you type in Zeta 2, it actually uses this file here, the Zeta 2 standard ASM file. So let's take a look at that, and that's where I made my change. Okay, here's the Zeta 2 standard ASM, and there is some flags that allows you to enable things or disable things. And it defaults to two of them enabled. The PPP enable is set to true, and the CRT act is set to active, is set to true. What these do is there is a second board that you can add to a Zeta 2 platform. That's the video card. It's called the ParaPort. And I don't use the ParaPort, the PropIO, PropPIO thing. So if you default to having these two things true, a couple things happen. One is that the hardware goes out and looks for it. And the second is that it defaults to having the IO go through that board instead of the standard RS-232. So neither one of those things I wanted. So I set them both to false. So PPP enable set to false, CRT set to false. Then when I build the ROM and put it in the system, it boots very fast. The actual part of the program that goes out and looks for that board is actually quite slow. I was surprised for it to go figure out whether that card is there or not. It finally figures it out and comes back, but it does take some time, and then it doesn't always come back an echo. So sometimes it takes a reset. So anyway, let me show you how fast it boots now. Okay, I have the power on. Let me hit the reset button. And there we go, boom. So if you've played with Zeta 2 before, you'll notice that while it's going through right here after the floppy disk, when it looks for floppy disk, the next thing it does is to look for the PPP, and it'll find that at IO 60 hex. But now it doesn't do anything in it. And it will usually hang right at this line here for some time, and then it'll finally execute the rest of the boot sequence. So now when I hit reset, it just flies through very, very fast, and then you can get into CPM and do your thing. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that, and I think it's a good change.